Hello, everyone. Um, I'm actually not going to edit this, so I need to check the audio. You will hear my parents laughing in the background. I'm just checking my own voice to see how loud I am, which is okay, I think. So this is just recording in, I don't know what that stands for, OBS, which I think a lot of people have. I recently just discovered it, so I've been trying it out, I guess, and yeah, it works really well. The last video uploaded like suspiciously quickly, and I thought like that's awesome. So I'm definitely game for doing this again. The only thing about it is the quality is not going to be there because I have this, I guess, janky webcam, and I don't know how to fix the quality on it. Usually on Zoom you can fix the quality on that, but I don't know with this OBS. Anyway, so yeah, this is not really I guess my videos are never really formal or well planned out, so nothing unusual here. But I think it's just more chill today. I decided to make this video like literally a minute ago, and yeah, so it is St. Patrick's Day, so happy St. Patrick's Day, everyone. I'm sure plenty of you guys are out, maybe not. It is quarantine, or is it? I guess you can say we're still in a pandemic. I don't know if a lot of places or most places or less places are in actual quarantine lockdown. I have not been watching the news at all. I'm sorry. I try to avoid the news as much as possible, to be honest. Is that my desk making that noise? I'm like moving my feet around to see if that... Everything is like amplified in this microphone, so right now it sounds like I'm speaking very loud, and yet I know that I'm not. It just it drives me a little bit crazy. Because I don't know, I'm kind of self-conscious of myself and other people hearing me in my house. So yeah, my hair is kind of going crazy tonight. Anyway, enough about my nice hair. I have coffee from Panera, unlimited coffee. I actually found out, weirdly, that I have 3 months of free coffee from Panera that I just accessed today. So thank you Panera. This video is not sponsored. However, if you guys want free coffee from Panera, just go to the app and get it. I mean, it's free. So I think, just really fast, and then I'll get to the actual point of this video, I guess, even though I don't really have a point. So I went on there today, and I kind of read the conditions of that, and if I'm correct, you can literally just get 3 months of coffee for free, and then quit by the 4th month. So you technically don't have to pay anything. You're just getting free coffee. I think Panera is very, what's the word? Confident that you are going to buy something else with your free cup of coffee, which I don't. And the reason why is because Panera is a little bit ridiculous in prices. And I remember the last thing I got there was probably a year ago, food-wise. Maybe not, actually. I think I got a few brownies, actually. Sometimes I'll get a baked good. I mean, that's fine. But like their soup, last time I got their soup like a year ago, and I love their broccoli cheddar soup. Probably does not agree with my stomach anymore, but I still love it. And I had it last year, and I paid a lot of money for it. It was like, I think it was like $6 or $7, and they gave me this big bowl, and like half of it was filled, and I'm like, Sir. It was, I don't know, it was just stupid, but I enjoyed it either way because it tastes good. I'm just saying, I have a weird price issue. Like when I compare a $7 bowl of soup that fills me up somewhat and I really like, but it's like just like filled up to like, I don't know how much it was filled up, but it wasn't that much. And then you have like Chipotle, where if you walk in there with $10, you can barely eat the whole thing. So, yeah. Anyway, so if my parents don't go crazy laughing because they're watching a movie, I believe it's National Lampoon's Vacation. That's a good movie. I'll keep this video rolling if they kind of get out of hand, which is kind of funny to say. If they start making a lot of noise, then I'll probably stop. Maybe, is there a way to stop recording? I think I can, oh, I can pause. Oh, that's neat. Okay, cool. I didn't know you could do that. Either way, I'm not going to edit this video, so it's going to be just completely out there. So the title of this video actually is going to be about loneliness, which is such a serious subject from me just talking about all that crap for 7 minutes. I'm really trying hard not to burp with this coffee. I'm sorry. I don't know why I'm just staring at the timer right now. Okay, so let's get to something more serious, which deals with loneliness. Now, you guys seem to like my last video on loneliness quite a bit, and I have to say that I watched maybe like 5 seconds of it before I couldn't stand my own voice, and I had a kickin' beard back then, I have to say, and a really cool setup. Needless to say, I think I actually cared back then. I had this like setup over there, and it was dark, and it had that really cool light that I put downstairs, and I can't find the cable for it anymore. And then I had that nice like audio-proof thing covering this part, because probably right now you're hearing the fan from my computers and everything else. I don't know. And I put it up against the wall, so you shouldn't. I think you did hear stuff in that video though, because my dad was watching this really loud video, but everyone seemed to like it, apparently, at least. You're gonna hear my mom. She's kind of sick, so she's been coughing and making all sort of strange noises that you do when you're sick. So I apologize for that. So yeah, 8 minutes. Maybe I should get to the point. So lately, sorry, I'm trying to figure out how to say this, or maybe, I don't know. I've been feeling lonely. I think it's definitely the healthy type of loneliness that people feel occasionally. It's not like this crippling depression. It's not like this this every second, every minute, every day situation where I'm just like, oh, where I'm open around the house and just walking like a zombie, like, oh. No. It's a little bit of self-pity. And it's a little bit of, well, I think it's a little bit from this, the quarantine, which I think everyone is feeling. I think everyone has, in a way, on a different level, to a certain extent, a feeling of loneliness, or just sadness, or just something from the quarantine, something negative. And I think it's perfectly fine, because if we didn't feel any way like negative from this, then maybe there's something off. Maybe you're just super positive and you're loving this. Maybe you're a hermit who has never seen people in the last 10 years, and you're not about to really care about this quarantine. Yeah, so lately I've just been feeling kind of down, and sort of just thinking about my future. So, for those who don't know, I am 24 years old, and I'm going on to 25 in about, I don't know, a few months. And it sort of comes to the point where you're doing the numbers and you realize, well, this may be like, I don't know, it could be half my life, it could be a quarter of my life, but although they say that's a quarter of your life, that's being pretty generous with yourself. That means you're gonna live to 100. Now, I know a lot of people who have reached, like, I don't know a lot of people, but I know when people usually reach a certain age where they can't take care of themselves, honestly, they don't even want to be here. And the funny thing is, I find this hilarious, actually. It's so ironic that people who smoke and did drugs or do drugs, people who live life like tomorrow is going to be their last day, and those people that have the outlook of like, I'm gonna die tomorrow, or I hope I die tomorrow. That's horrible to say, but people who have that negative outlook, people who have, like, smoked like a chimney and are doing everything under the sun, they're partying maybe every night, I don't know. Some of those people, and maybe the most of the people that I know that do that, they live a very long time, and it's weird. It's very ironic, and it's weird. And then you have someone, I guess, like me, who doesn't smoke, who doesn't drink, who doesn't do drugs, who is a pretty square kid. Is square still used? Is square still a term? Square means like a dorky, or a very straight guy, someone who follows the rules, who doesn't doesn't do drugs, or I don't know. Anyway, and I just find that really funny. But where was I going with this? This is why I need like a list in front of me. But that's all right. We're chill today. Oh, there goes the laugh. So, with that said, I'm just going to continue on because I can't remember what kind of point I was going to make with that. Maybe I just found that funny. Right. So, I've been running the numbers in my head, like, constantly. And I'm like saying, hey, I'm 25. What did I do in my 25 years of living? Now, you got to cut yourself some slack, because being 25 and looking back 25 years isn't like being 50 and looking back to being 25, right? Because, I don't know, by the time you reach 16, maybe before that, maybe much after that, you have leeway then, you have freedom, you can do what you want. So I can't look back to the 25 years and said, oh man, I could have gone on vacation or something, I could have done something different, because that's not really true. I mean, you're only looking past really the past 8, 9, 10 years that you actually had the freedom to do what you want, really. Because you're not going to be going by yourself to, I don't know what people do now, the Bahamas or Florida. Everyone loves Florida, apparently, when you're like 9 years old. No, you don't have the freedom. Maybe when you're 15, maybe when you're 16. I definitely didn't have that choice, but well, actually I did. But anyway, only because I said that because my grandfather lives down there and he really wanted me to come over, but I feel like he would want me to garden or something for him, like, I don't know. He golfs a lot, which I don't golf, and he does a lot of stuff outside in the heat, and I'm not a fan of heat. I'm not a fan of the sun. I'm not a fan of insects, humidity. Anyway, so it's not like that. We're at, if you're 50 years old and looking back your past 25 years, then you can kind of be a little bit more harsher on that. Like, what did I accomplish? What did I do? Because I had absolute freedom when I was 25, And now I can actually look back 25 years and say, what did I do? And so, yeah. So I'm not being too harsh in what I did in the last 25 years, because that's just not going to happen. Or 24, apparently. So, yeah. Anyway, I'm taking a long time to get to the point, which is sort of the point of this video. There really is no point. And that's okay. So I have a lot of regrets, and let me go over these regrets with you. You're like my therapist, so have a seat. I have a regret of not going places. I've been in the same state for I don't know how long. Of course, I live really close next to another state, so I can like literally drive 5 minutes in my car and I'll be at the next state. But that doesn't really count, right? It's like literally right there. I mean, so I'm not counting as vacation. I'm not counting that as traveling, because it takes like 5 minutes to get past the state border. So I'm not counting that. I think the only time I've ever been to some places, I've been to Philadelphia when I was like 7, and it was a graduation party we had to show up to, and it honestly wasn't a fun trip. It was honestly the hotel that was like the best part of that trip. And I can't remember much. I think one of my relatives is like a firefighter, so I got to wear a firefighter suit and to sit in a fire truck vehicle, I guess. And what else? I remember swimming in the hotel pool. I remember breakfast at the hotel, because let's be honest, it's a great time. I love the breakfast at hotels. I don't go that much, but I just remember them, and I'm like, oh yeah, free breakfast. I don't care what it is. I don't care if it's like the little packs of cereal you get to pour on it. It's amazing. I don't know what is it about hotel breakfasts. So anyway, the only other place I think I've been that's been farther away is Cleveland, and that was just to visit family, and I stayed overnight with my grandfather, and I went to Cedar Point, which was like an amusement park. I'm having a hard time with words tonight, aren't I? Amusement park, which was fun. Other than that, though, not that I'm complaining about it, but I have just some regrets of not going to different places. Regrets about just tonight's St. Patrick's Day, right? And I'm home alone. Now, I could go out to a bar if I knew even where one was. I do know where one is. I don't know where two are, but I know where one is because it's right across my street, actually. But that's just not me. I don't drink, and technically with my medication, I can't drink. And I don't know. I don't have anyone to go with. And that's sort of like why I wanted to make this video, for people who may be stuck in tonight, possibly, because you have my empathy. It's hard, especially when you don't feel like doing that sort of thing. It's a weird feeling because, especially with me, I'm a person to stay in the house. I'm a person to do stuff like write a book, or I haven't really read much lately, but write a book, or draw, or do something at home, basically. And at the same time, it's like I haven't really lived. I haven't had that moment of like, oh, you know, that really funny story where like me and him, when her and, you know, jumped off a bridge. I don't know. But everyone has one of those stories, and I feel like I don't have one. I feel like I missed out on something, and that's sort of been like, it's sort of gnawing at me. But then in another way, it also makes me feel very blessed that I didn't have these encounters, because some of these encounters aren't good. I could actually name one time. One time. I'll tell you this story because I think it's hilarious, and I think we'll get a kick out of it, actually. What's the time? 20 minutes? It'll upload quickly. So, let me tell you a funny story. So my friend, he surprised me and came over one day, or he called me, or I can't remember, and he asked me, like, hey, do you want to go out? You want to do something? And being me, I'm like, nah, I'm good. I'll just, stay home and do stuff. And he goes, no, you're getting out of the house. Like, he forced me to get out of the house. And, props to him, because he got me out of the house. I got in his car, and he was riding a Jeep. And he already had a friend in there. And I knew this friend from high school. I didn't really talk to him, but I knew him. And we went to Dunkin' Donuts. If you know me, I don't like being in places for too long. Not because I get freaked out or have anxiety. I just like knowing what I have to do and then leaving. Now I can rest, or I can, sit down for a while. But we were at Dunkin' Donuts for 2 hours, and I was going insane. I already had my hot chocolate or coffee or whatever, and they were talking over the plans. As we were sitting there, these two other friends showed up, or one other friend, I can't remember. I think there was might have been 4 or 5 of us, maybe 3 of us. I can't remember, actually. And they showed up, and they were discussing what to do. One really wanted to go to a strip club, and that was red flags for me. I'm like, whoa, don't do that. I don't do that. So I said to my friend, I'm like, hey, if you guys end up going to this place, just drop me off at home. I've had my time at Dunkin' Donuts. And then, so they were debating where to go. And then they were talking about this party, and I'm like, I don't want to go to a party. That's not me. I'm not going to a party. Especially when I have nobody at home but my friend who may drink at this party. So now I'm getting kind of freaked out. I'm like, okay, just in my head, I'm like, just take me home. I don't want to be involved. So they eventually end up driving with us, and we go to a Sheetz. Sheetz, if you don't know what that is, just a gas station. I'm pretty sure it's all over around the world. I don't know though. At least the US. And so we go to the Sheetz, and as we're going out, I'm thinking I'm in the clear. Okay, I bought whatever. I don't know if it was a bag of cookies. I have no idea. I got back to the car, and I'm thinking okay, fun night out. Let's go back home. I don't have agoraphobia. I just didn't want to be involved in the plans they had, because I knew it either involved a strip club or a party with alcohol and chaos. And, well, that's not the end of the story. So I think we almost got involved with the cops, because my friend drives a little bit crazy, and the cops were following us for a little bit. But at Sheetz, though, when we got to Sheetz and I did my thing and I came back to the car, the one friend was already talking to these other 2 girls, and he was obviously flirting, which I haven't been really. So with flirting, I know nothing about it. So it was watching a really awkward conversation, and I was cringing in the back, and these 2 girls hey, in the movies, hey, you should come to this party we're having. But then there was this weird thing where these girls were well, just don't let our boyfriends know you're coming. Just don't let know, these guys over here in this Jeep, that you're coming to this party, or you're going to get beat up, because we're from this high school and you're from this high school, and we're rivals or whatever. I don't know. So I already didn't like this. And I remember I was full out in anxiety, and shaking because I just wanted to go home at this point. I didn't want to go to a party. I didn't want to get beat up. And people, they're saying they have this alcohol and they have girls. I'm like, oh no. And I was shaking so bad in the backseat, like, what am I going to do? And because the driver, my friend, he's driving all of us. And if I say I want to go home, I'm going to look like an idiot. I'm going to look awful because they're going to have to drive all the way back into our hometown, drop me off, and then come all the way out back, which I know I still should have spoke up, but I didn't. I was being an idiot. And we followed these girls with these other boys behind them, which was really weird, to this party. And let me say, we drove out in a place where they looked like they were filming. It looked like the setting of a Jeepers Creepers movie. Remember the like Jeepers Creepers 2, I want to say, when it involves like these cornfields and all of a sudden the whatever he throws out at the bus and the bus tire explodes and now they're all stuck on a bus out in the middle of nowhere. That's what it was like. There was no lights. Like there was zero lights. It was completely pitch black. And we were driving on this long road out in the middle of nowhere. And literally the moon was the only thing that actually illuminated anything. So we got to this house in the middle of freaking nowhere. And I was just like, my anxiety was shot up. We parked the car, and the worst part was we parked the car in like this one spot where it was going to be so difficult to get back out with someone parked behind us. And I noted this like immediately, like, oh no. And I'm like, we were like, I can't explain it, but we were parked in a weird way where like we couldn't get out. Like it was it wasn't even part of the driveway. I'm like, if we get beat up or if we have to get out of here, we're not getting out of here. Not fast, at least. So I already noted that. The good thing about the story is I never walked in the house. So my friend and then these other two people I know, they start walking towards the house. I start walking towards the house. My face is like down on the floor, like just looking at the driveway, like, I don't want this. My hands are in my pocket. And I remember, oh, thank God. I remember this kid comes out from this house. Oh, I forgot about the best part. I'm sorry. I'm a horrible storyteller. We get to the house and we don't even park the car yet. We hear screaming and like, just like these kids are screaming, whipping off their shirts. And they have beer in their hand. And like my anxiety just went through the roof. They all just like came and attacked the car. Not attacked because they're being friendly about it, I guess. They were just being like teenagers, and they were just ran out without their shirts and just beat the side of my friend's car. I'm like, oh no, oh please don't. And I thought my friend would have enough logic, like, okay, let's get out of here. But no, he goes and parks the car. Anyway, so I'm out of the car now, and I have my head down like this, and I'm walking my thing like, I don't want to do this. Someone came out before we walked in, and he's like, I'm sorry, dude, but you gotta go. We don't want anyone else in this party, you know, like, you know, if you want a beer, you can have a beer, but yeah, I don't want you guys in here. And I'm like, oh, thank you, God. And then we leave. And like that, the one person I knew, he looked at me when we were leaving, and he's like, hey, Mike, I'm glad we didn't get in there either. I'm like, oh, so you were thinking the same thing. We should have just spoke up. Anyway, yeah, and then we went home. So that was a crazy night for me. That was one of my craziest nights. And I know that you guys probably have far crazier nights. Maybe not, maybe so. But yeah, that's as crazy as it ever got for me. Boy, I can tell so many stories about high school. It's just funny stories too. If you guys ever want to know about the story of my chemistry teacher being insane and chasing a kid in a Barney outfit, leave a comment. I'll just dedicate this to stories. Actually, should I just dedicate this to stories? Because at this point, it's 29 minutes in, and I didn't even talk about loneliness. If anything, I think this has cured it. I knew it would. See, guys, we cured loneliness. You just talk to a camera, and then that's it. Should I do that? Because honestly, this has gone so sidetracked that, like, I'm 30 minutes in. I'm not calling this episode like whatever about loneliness, because that would just be awful. Should I just tell you stories? I mean, no one's, this isn't live, so no one's gonna say yes or no. Well, I'm not editing this, so I better just do the stories, because otherwise it's gonna people are gonna be clicking on this video like, where's the loneliness part? Anyway, if you guys are wondering, or if you guys are scared, I'm fine. Just feeling a little bit lonely. I think everyone is during the quarantine. And I recommend that you just get out of the house in some way, in a safe way, because the virus is still out there. Just go for a walk in the woods. I was going to add so much more to this, but, it's just, I get so sidetracked when I don't write anything down that it's not even funny. So I'm not going to do it, because it's just going to be, that's just unfair to people who are waiting for that. So I guess I'll tell a few more stories, and excuse me, I've been holding in a burp for like 31 minutes. I'm so sorry. It was from the coffee or something. Or actually, no, halushki. If you ever had halushki, it's cabbage, onion, and noodles. I'm like, what's the name for that? Noodles, cabbage, and onion, I believe. So yeah, I've had some of that, and it's starting to come up my old burp chain. Anyway, what was I gonna say? Okay, so I'm just gonna tell a few more stories. There is one story where I'll tell you about the chemistry teacher. My chemistry teacher had a legendary, how do I put it? My chemistry teacher was pretty legendary in my high school, and there's a few stories with him. As I say these stories, please don't take offense, because this is the story. And I don't want to feel like I'm shaming anyone, but it's the story. You'll see in a second. So this one story, this one girl, okay, I'm telling the story through someone else who told the story, so take it with a grain of salt here. But I believe it, actually. So this one girl, I guess, she one day, or every day, she kept asking to go to the bathroom, in chemistry class with this teacher. Now let me describe this chemistry teacher for you. This chemistry teacher scared me. I think he was Irish or something. Irish or Scottish, I think Irish. And he had a temper. He was also very, very kind. However, he had his moments. And the scariest thing about him, I would say, is his eyes. So you know how I'm focusing on you right now, focusing on the camera, which I probably haven't been doing for the most of this video. So instead of looking at you, he would do this. And literally, he would stare like a foot above everyone's head, the entire classrooms. I have no idea why, but this is literally how he would stare. He walked around, and he would keep the same level, and talking about atoms, like, hey, atoms do this and atoms do that, and yeah, does everyone have any questions? And it was like, why are you staring up? That's what he did. So just a little description there. And the scariest thing about that, though, is when he got mad. When he got mad, you knew he got mad, because he would do this. His eyes would like slowly roll down at your level, and you're like, oh crap, I'm about to get my butt served. It was bad. And I remember one time that the band came back from Disney, because they had a field trip to Disney, and they were goofing off. Like, they were really, I don't know, after they got home, apparently they were just kind of giddy and talking. I don't know. This is actually part of my class, so I did see this part. And he was trying to teach, and people were absent in the class. A lot of people were absent after they went to Disney, and then the people who weren't absent, they were talking a lot. So he turned around. There was one point, and he slowly rolled his eyes down at everyone, and I curled in a ball. He ripped into everyone in that classroom bad. Like, I remember it, and it was just screaming, like rage. Like, he was like, I don't know what he was saying, but something like, I know you guys just got back from Disney, but this is like bull crap or something. And that was terrifying. So I'll eventually get to the Barney story, which is the best one. The one story I'm referencing, though, is from a kid who told me that there's this girl who had to go to the bathroom every single day, and this teacher was getting really mad about it. He was getting really mad. And one day she asked to go to the bathroom, and let me see if I can remember the story first. I think she had to go to the bathroom, or she forgot her book and had to go get her book. Probably just like some excuse to get out of the class. And one day he called her, I believe, a fat pig. She left the room, got her book or whatever, and he went out in the hallway, and he was so mad that they said he punched through a plaster wall. That's one of the that's one of the, like, more of the famous of the stories. The second and the most famous by them all is the Barney one. So this was told by this one kid, that someone, as their senior prank, dressed up as Barney. The dinosaur, the purple dinosaur, dressed up as Barney, and they came in through the cafeteria with silly string. They ran up on this teacher who has temper issues, and they sprayed him down with, he sprayed him down with the silly string. After doing that, sorry, let me my throat. After doing that, though, this teacher chased him down out of the school, through the parking lot, through the streets that were nearby. They're busy streets, they're busier streets, and eventually tackled this kid in this purple Barney suit, and the kid's helmet or Barney mask came off, and he struck his head on the I believe the curbside, and he got a concussion for it. So that was like the craziest story. And I think, and I don't know for sure, but I think this kid already had a concussion that same year, or just like a few days ago, a few weeks ago. I can't remember the exact story. And that's like the most popular story with that teacher. Just crazy stuff. What's another story I could throw in there? There was this one teacher named Mr. Oh, wait, I don't want to give away names, actually. I'm sorry. I know his name, though. He was... So if you're in high school, or if you just got over high school, or if you remember your high school teachers, I guess, usually there's one who's a history teacher, and he was a coach, or he was a past coach, and this was like this teacher. He was a past coach. He didn't really care about his job, and the entire time in class, every class actually, he would make us copy the vocab from the back of each chapter, and that was like the hard days too, and he would play solitaire. Other than that, though, this teacher was amazing because we didn't learn anything. I know that sounds awful, but um, I firmly believe, though, like, I know you had to be well-rounded in education, but you shouldn't have to take stupid stuff like, yes, take world history. Okay, not saying that. Take world history. Be well-rounded with that. Take English. Learn stuff. Because English nowadays apparently doesn't teach you actual English, just makes you read these novels, and I don't know. It's dumb. But anyway, stuff like calculus. No. If you're not going to go into that field, don't learn calculus. It's stupid. In my opinion. What was I going to say? Right. So, he was like one of the funnest isn't a word, right? He was the best teacher, basically, because all you would have to do to sidetrack him is talk about food or whales. Now, I'm saying this because I literally, right before class, brought up the subject of whales. And we ended on the subject, we ended the class period, like a 50-minute class period. We ended it on baked potatoes. It was my best class ever. I mean, can you imagine starting a subject as random as whales and ending 50 minutes later talking about how this teacher cooks his twice baked potatoes and what he puts in it? Like, that's like striking gold, in my opinion. And I'm one who values education and being well-rounded and stuff. But if you can do this with one of your teachers, there's a beauty in it. Anyway, so he would tell us a bunch of funny stories, and I actually don't know if I can remember much of them. I remember there's one time actually in his class that he made us watch a lot of movies, I think. One was A Christmas Story, near Christmas time. Christmas Story is like the Red Ryder BB gun, you'll shoot your eye out. It's a good movie. And I had this little remote. It was called like the Stealth Ninja Universal Remote, and I was absolutely like obsessed with this thing. Any TV, any TV. You didn't have to plug in a code. You didn't have to like do much of anything. All you had to do with this thing, I bought it for like $30 off this website called ThinkGeek, and I broke it. But anyway, you pointed at any TV, and you held down a button. A laser came out of it, so I usually like covered the laser with this finger, and I held on the button, and it just took a few seconds, and then I think you saw like the light blink, which means it's connected to the TV. And boy, oh boy, I felt so good about logging to this TV, connecting to it. We were watching The Christmas Story, and I would just be like fiddling with the volume and like messing with the TV, and people like were really just like, what's happening? And I just like the immature kid I am, I found it so funny. And then for one part, so I think I remember for this one kid who kept getting up for something. Every time he would pass the TV, I would do something with the TV, making it look like he did it. I know I'm awful. And so for the part in the movie of A Christmas Story, Ralphie, he says, there's that moment where he goes, "Oh, fudge." But he doesn't say fudge, he says the F word. And it's like a big movie scene, very iconic, I think. And my teacher was hyping up this part, like, "Oh, wait, he's gonna say it. My teacher's very loud. He was a coach, so he's very loud. He's like, "Oh, he's gonna say it. He was doing that, And everyone's like getting all psyched up for this one scene where he goes, literally right when he says, "Oh, I turn off the TV, and my teacher just freaks out like, "Oh, turn it back on, turn it back on." It was the best thing. And we turned it back on, and I think they rewinded it or something. Maybe they didn't. Oh my gosh, I kept messing with the TV. And then they started catching on that it was me because I guess a little bit of laser came out, and they would just, the people who knew were cool about it, and they just looked at me and smiled, and I'm like, I'm a cool kid. And yeah, so that was funny. He had a story. He had so many stories, and they were just hilarious. He's one of those people. That teacher was one of those people that can tell a story and cry laughing at his own story, and you're crying laughing at that story because you have no idea what he's saying. Oh man, there was this one story about the Rain Man. The Rain Man, I've never seen the movie for it. I don't know the person. I just know he's very intelligent. And I guess the actual Rain Man, whoever that is, came to our that high school I went to a while ago before I came. And that teacher was still there at the time. And I guess this is the teacher saying it, so please don't get offended to what I say. And he said, basically, this guy got up on the stage, and he was kind of weird, and it had a lot of quirks. And I can't remember what this one kid did, but he stood up and asked a question, something that made fun of him. I honestly don't remember what it was, but this kid made fun of him basically, and the principal drug out this kid, and afterwards, the Rain Man was still at the school. We didn't know, I guess they didn't know if he drove there or if he had a ride. I don't know. I have no idea. Maybe I'm telling the story wrong. Somehow he ended up in this teacher that I'm talking about, his class. And literally, he would just be standing there in the front of the class while probably while this teacher played solitaire, and all the other students are probably just staring at him or, doing their vocab. And it was hilarious, just the way he said it. And it's one of the things where he had to be there, honestly. And he said, well, then this teacher said, you know what, after so long of being in the classroom, he sent him to the library for whatever reason. And I don't know if I should say this next part. It's just the way he said it. I don't know. He sent this guy, Rain Man, to the library. And just the way he said it, he said like the Raymond was, I don't know if this is true because I can't remember it well, but I think he said he was staring at these girls, and the girls started laughing at him. I don't want to say what he said next because it's inappropriate, but it was just one of those things where you had to be there. It was he would just tell the funny stories, and he would just show up in people's classes, like other teachers' classes, and the teachers just love him. They're like, "Hey, you got any stories for us?" And he would tell us these stories. I'm like, "Oh my gosh." There was this one story, I can barely remember it. No, I don't think I can. I can't remember the main point of the story, the main part of the story. I just remember he told us two other stories that I remember vaguely. The one was like this one kid called the teacher something nasty, and he went to the office, and no one liked this teacher apparently, and so the principal basically said, well, I don't know what his name was, Kyle. Well, Kyle, I don't know whether to give you detention, expel you, or give you a chicken dinner. I don't remember the joke, but he obviously did something. The funny part was what he said to the teacher. But yeah, just really funny stories. There was one story where this teacher said when he was the coach, he had a football player who got in a very bad accident on the field, and literally his bone was showing through his leg, and the ambulance came, and this coach or this teacher came over to him to cheer him up. because he was in pain and, he didn't know what was happening. He was freaking out. And he said, darn, I can't remember like the little details. I'm getting too old and it's getting too long ago. But he said something like, hey, if you get through this, he pointed at a cheerleader. He said, Gina will lift up her shirt at you, if you walk off the field or something. I don't know, something like that. He would tell us the stories, and sometimes they were inappropriate. Sometimes they were just like really random, or like the time where he stopped on the side of the road to take a box off a raccoon's head, or a dog's head, and he thought it was a dog, or a cat, and if it turned out to be a raccoon, and it was chasing down his dog, and it was just a hilarious story. Oh man, God bless that guy. He was the best storyteller. Yeah, so this is going on to 50 minutes, which is nuts. Boy, I don't know if I have any more stories on me right now. I definitely do, but I have to think about them. Anything else from high school? I think I'll just stick with high school because why not? There was this one teacher I had with, I guess it wasn't really counted as a class, but it was the Seminarian, basically a newspaper, and I joined it so I didn't have to do study hall. And I also was told that you can leave early if you joined it, so I was probably the only one that actually wrote papers on time per the newspaper. And I really like to burp this coffee and I guess the halushki. And God rest her soul. But she was a great teacher. She, I guess, recently died. I don't think so. I mean, maybe like 2 or 3 years ago, if that's recent. Yeah, she was a very nice teacher. She smoked like no one else, but she was extremely kind and really funny. And like she would send off the students to Sheetz, that gas station I was talking about, to get her, I think, macaroni bites and like this ridiculously large coffee. It was like an extra large coffee from Dunkin' Donuts. And yeah, she was great. And yeah, there's some funny stories about her. But you know what? I think I have to stop here because it's getting ridiculously long and I don't know who is even going to listen to this. Sorry that this was everywhere, because it basically was everywhere in every direction. So hope you're having a good night and hope you laughed at this. Hope you are asleep or just enjoying this. I don't know. And yeah, thank you for listening. All right, guys, I will see you later. If you watch the full 52 or 53 minutes of this, God bless. I don't know how you did it, but you got here. Good job. All right, I will see you guys later. Goodbye.